Ueno Station had always been a busy place, even when morning had just broken, and the sun was still shyly peeking out from behind rows of old Tokyo buildings, amid the hurried footsteps of office workers, tourists dragging large suitcases, and train announcements echoing in flat yet firm voices. There was a wooden bench in the corner of the platform that felt quieter than its surroundings. That was where Haru often sat every weekend, waiting for a train without truly intending to board one. He simply liked the atmosphere of the station, the meetings, and farewells that happened without people needing to know each other, as if life spun rapidly yet still left room for silence. That morning, the air felt colder than usual. The autumn wind carried the scent of dry leaves from Ueno Park not far away. Haru rubbed his hands together, then accidentally noticed a white envelope lying beneath the bench. The envelope looked simple, without a stamp, without an address, only a neat handwritten line on the front. Asterisk for someone who still wants to come home, asterisk. The words made Haru pause longer than he should have. He picked up the envelope carefully, as if afraid of damaging something fragile and important. Haru was not usually the type to meddle in other people's affairs. Yet for some reason, that morning his heart felt softer. He opened the envelope and found a neatly folded letter inside. The handwriting was delicate, slightly slanted to the right, as though the writer had written with great consideration. The letter did not begin with a name, only with a simple sentence. Asterisk, if you are reading this. It means I was not brave enough to say it directly. Asterisk. Haru took a long breath before continuing to read, feeling as though he was peeking into a fragment of someone else's life, strange, yet strangely close. The letter spoke of regret, of someone who had once left this city in pursuit of what was said to be a greater dream, only to lose direction along the way, of promises that were never kept, and the word later that slowly turned into never. The writer described how Ueno Station had always been the last place they remembered, clearly the place where they said goodbye without looking back. Haru felt his chest warm, not because of the air, but because the sentences seemed to touch a part of himself that he had long kept tightly closed. Haru himself had come to Tokyo 10 years earlier for almost the same reason. He had left his hometown in a small prefecture, carrying hopes of a more meaningful life. But as time passed, life turned into a flat routine. He worked, went home, slept, and repeated it again the next day. Sometimes he asked himself whether he was truly moving forward, or simply walking away without direction. Reading that letter caused old questions to resurface, like echoes that had never truly disappeared. At the end of the letter, the writer wrote, asterisk, if one day you feel longing, come to Ueno Station. I believe this place holds the answers we never spoke aloud, asterisk. There was no signature, only a date, the date of that very day. Haru slowly folded the letter shut. He looked around, hoping to find someone who seemed restless or waiting. But all he saw were strangers absorbed in their own concerns. For a moment, Haru felt as though the letter had been written for him, even though he knew that possibility was small. He considered handing the letter to a station attendant, yet his feet felt heavy. There was a strange urge to keep it, as if he were responsible for a message that had not yet reached its destination. So Haru decided to sit back down on the wooden bench. Time passed, one train arrived and departed, then another followed. The crowd kept moving, but Haru remained there, holding the white envelope in his hands. Toward midday, a middle-aged woman sat down at the end of the same bench. Her face looked tired, her eyes fixed on the train tracks with an empty gaze. After a few minutes, she turned toward Haru and offered a faint smile. Excuse me, she said softly. Did you find a letter here? Haru's heart beat faster. He nodded and handed her the envelope without saying anything. The woman accepted it with both hands, as if receiving something deeply precious. "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling. "I wrote it last night. But this morning I wasn't brave enough to wait." She let out a small laugh, one that sounded more like a long sigh. Haru only replied with a nod, unsure of what to say. The woman stood up, bowed briefly, then walked away toward the station exit. Haru watched her until her figure disappeared into the crowd. As he looked again at the empty space beside him on the bench, Haru realized something simple yet important. The letter was not meant for him, but the message within it had found a place in his heart. He stood up and finally stepped toward the platform, this time with a clear destination. Ueno Station returned to its usual bustle, but for Haru, that day felt different. He carried home a small conviction that sometimes what is left behind is precisely what helps us find our way back home.